And we're hot, guys. There we go. Okay. Took me a bit to kind of set this up, but just to remind everybody, I don't have a cooking show. I've got everything set to go. I don't have things scripted, at least most of the time. So yeah, so we've got a finally getting to this for Sammy. Uh, and for those people watching, this is a whole lot more fun to watch live than it is to watch later. So if you get a chance to watch live, it's a whole lot better because you can ask questions and all that stuff, and I will bring you up here so I can answer questions in real time if I at all get the chance, which I usually do. 7 people here. Who's here? So yeah, this is Sammy's 026 Pro, and I had Rattler do the bass on here and the squish band, and it is first rate work, absolute top shelf. Now, hey Chad, morning or afternoon rather. Um, One of the things about this particular saw here is that um, he had an original head on this, and the original head's fine, but he wanted a decompression valve. If we're going to, if you're going to higher compression, you may want a decompression valve. On the little saws, it's not quite as, you know, needed, but he still wanted one, and I pointed him to an OEM head, and he said no, he wanted the highway. So we got the highway head. This one actually looks pretty good. Um, no real complaints here. Hey, Bob. So the head's ready here, and I need to basically check squish and kind of get going on this. Just looking at the head, I don't think there's going to be lots of port work to do, but we'll see what comes up. Like I've said before, I don't have a cooking show, so I don't know how this turns out necessarily. Have I done an 026 before? I don't think I've done an 026 before. Yeah, so actually, a few things to do here before I even get to the boarding. I gotta get this off. Hey Harry, you made it. Great. 13 millimeter with the impact. And the nice thing about the Stihl flywheels is they have a special tool that you can use for the flywheel to pull it. I just need to find that special tool. So these help quite a bit. Just thread this in. Hey, Tim. And Henry. Wonderful. Welcome. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, they can hit me in real time here. I am, this is, flying by the seat of my pants here, so. Off. So that's just these are actually available aftermarket and they work just fine. This is all kinds of dirty, so I'll go stick that in the ultrasonic. I'm out of mean green, so I gotta get more of that. All right, whatever. Okay. So yeah, the reason I took the flywheel off is basically twofold. One, I do want to replace the seal because this is old. But supposedly these are kind of a royal pain to deal with. I can see why. They are tiny. So ideally you get the Stihl seal puller and we're able to pop that right out. Popping a new one in is, I don't think, too much of a big deal, but getting the old one out might prove interesting. Hey, Georgie. Okay, the biggest reason to take that off is because now I can get my, well, I can get it clean, but also I can get my wheel on it. So what else do we need to do here? So I don't need to put the rings in. OEM piston pin bearing. Part I do recommend to get as an OEM part. Piston can go in. Oh, one thing I'm forgetting. The gasket. So I had Rattler figure this for the thin gasket, and by the way, the thin gasket part number, so this is technically 1/2 millimeter gasket, so about 20 thousandths, 1118 029 2306. The other gasket for this model is thicker, it's like 38 thousandths, it's pretty thick. It's a 1 millimeter gasket, so just consider that when you're doing gaskets. But I wanted a gasket on here, so gonna measure everything. That. Wrist pin in. I don't need the clips. What I do need are some M5 screws just to hold this down temporarily. And we're really just trying to, we're going to get a squish number and some timing numbers. we don't have a head slapper. That's good. So this is Sammy's. Sammy I've known for a while. Met some years back. He's been to one of the get-togethers, I think. I forget how we met. I think it was through Craigslist, actually. But Sammy is the type of guy that polishes his saws with a toothbrush. So I, I have to be real careful with how I build these. Okay, I guess this is a no base gasket build because this will be perfect without the base gasket. No harm done there. So let me pull the gasket out. I can go back to a gasket later if I want to, but for today, we'll measure it without the gasket, which means we'll optimize the squish. Okay, let's check it out. Matt Fort, what's going on, man? Welcome. Anybody else here I missed? Tim's here, Henry's here. With no gasket in it, we're at about 24 thousandths. Five thousandths. Okay, so 25 thousandths with no gasket, and about just shy of. This is a little bit on the thinner side as far as gaskets go. Let's check. Yeah, right on 20. Okay. So the other. So if I took off a little bit more from the base. Let's see where the numbers end up. See if I want to leave this as a no gasket build or the other way. Whatever. 22 people here on a Sunday just watching me do this sort of silly stuff. All right, let's get some numbers. So there's a number of ways that guys do this as far as having their setups and whatnot. I take a really simple approach to this. So what you can't do is you can get a coat hanger and kind of make an indicator that goes out to your wheel. I take a more simple approach. I'll pick a fin. So the top one's easy, and I just sight it down the fin. Easy enough. Okay, so we need to balance the wheel. So Mastermind actually has a good video on how to do this. So you need a stop of some kind, and it's at some arbitrary point, right? You put it in. It only has to be at an arbitrary point, nothing more. And before we do that, so you can affix your wheel any number of different ways. I'm doing it on the flywheel side here. You can actually use my crank tools. Some guy did that. He actually used the crank tools, and they work beautifully on an adapter on the clutch side. So whatever you want to do, there's lots of different ways to do it. Hey, Mark. Yeah. So what I usually do is I'll bring the piston to more or less top dead center. So I know that that's top dead center, pretty close, visually speaking. I haven't done any measuring yet. There we go. Loosen that up. Again, piston right about there is top dead center. So then what I do is I'll bring my wheel, I'll align my wheel over there, more or less with top dead center, and at least you have a starting point. Back the wheel off, and where's that stop? Oh, about 45-ish. Bring it back, and that's about 55. So I move the wheel back a few degrees to about 50. Again, Mastermind has a great video on this. That should be about 50. So now you can get a little pickier. Say, okay, I'm at about 51. And that's about 48. So I need to basically adjust the wheel to where that's 50. And I tighten it down. And you balance back and forth. That's about right on 50. And that's like 48, 49. So now I'm a degree, I'm plus or minus a degree. this is not quite as tight as I would have liked it. So let's tighten that down a little further. Now we're way off, but that's okay. 47. So I'm plus or minus half a degree. For what we're doing, that's fine. Yeah, anybody that's new, feel free to ask questions. If I see them on here, I'll answer live. It's a whole lot more fun like that. I can build saws all day long, but it's a whole lot more fun to hang out with you guys and learn some stuff, you know? We can learn together. I'm still learning. I'm going to continue to learn forever. Okay, so now you can just go and look on your exhaust and see where it opens and closes, basically. Say, okay, I'm about there. Really, this is awkward with this bench. That's okay. And if you need a light, maybe you need a light, which is fine too. Shine a light. And you want to look where the exhaust closes. Right about there. And then you can measure it before top dead center. So this is roughly about 97. So that's 97. That's pretty low. It's like 97. So and then you can measure it to the other side too if you want. Yeah, 98. 99. So 98, we'll call it 98. For such a small motor, that's pretty, I guess we'd call that a low exhaust. I think we're going to aim for 101, but really, if it's that low, I don't need to do any grinding, because if you grind further away, you're gonna make the exhaust even lower. Higher. It depends on your perspective. Whatever. Basically, if you go to an extreme, let's say you had an exhaust opening of like 90, then there's really very little travel for the piston from top dead center to the exhaust opening to generate torque. So it's going to basically dump the exhaust out the exhaust maybe a little sooner than you'd like. If you had an exhaust, say, of 120, then it would be holding on to the exhaust potentially for too long. So it'd be too long of an exhaust duration. You'd get lots of torque but no RPM. So that's kind of the balance there. So I'm definitely not going to grind any away from the center of the exhaust. I might widen it a little bit, but I'm not going to grind any more away. Let's see what the intake is like. The intake is actually quite flat, which is nice. Somewhere about there. And you've got an intake of about 70, 60, 68. I don't know, like 78. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68. 68 So I got to grind the intake quite a bit to get that. Yeah, we're here. Welcome. 27 people watching me just get timing numbers. So I check and see where the bottom of the skirt actually closes, and we've got a bit to go. What you can do is actually go in there with a scribe. It's like 1/8 of an inch that I have to grind off. That's quite a bit on it to grind on the intake. Okay. So it would actually help more to take more off the base on this particular cylinder. I think you have to grind more off the base. So according to Squish, we're optimized for Squish, but I think it would be better if there was more ground off this base in order to get better numbers. Probably another 20 thousandths would actually be good. And then I still have to grind, which is 1/2 millimeter. I still need to grind the intake considerable. Okay. So let's see if we can come up with a number for transfers. There's a screw there somewhere in it. Where's the screw? It gets caught like somewhere in here. There it goes. Okay. So, need to get a ring. Let's get a ring. So I happen to have nice cavers for this, but so what I'll do is you take this ring to bottom dead center. Put your ring in here. Now what we're going to do, down like this. now we could bring this up to wherever we want it. Let's say we want the transfers at like, well, if you want like a blowdown of 20. So right now we've got 98 for the exhaust. Blowdown of 20 would be 118. So let's not overdo it. We'll go to like 120. So 90, 100, 110, 120. I can count over here, and you just bring this right up to there. Don't go past it, just right there. And then back off to bottom dead center. Second, I'm going to kind of give a summary of what I'm thinking here and what I want to do. Right. So now we can go in here and we can look at the ring and say, geez, you know, we're kind of right on there. It's even both sides. I probably wouldn't change the transfers at all. I can grind a little bit out of there just to get rid of some of the the casting flaws, but as a general thing, it's right on where I want it to be. Okay, so you've got kind of absolute numbers and you've got relative numbers. So if you want the blowdown is where the transfers are in relation to the exhaust. So right now it's about 20 degrees off, which is fine. So if you have an exhaust of say 98 here, and you have a blowdown of 20, then you end up at 118 for the transfers, which is essentially what we have. You can grind it, you get a little less blowdown if you want, or you can, you know, grind just the exhaust and you get more blowdown effectively. But what do I want to do? I want to actually drop the cylinder head another probably 40 thousandths. So I need to have Rattler get me another 20 out of the band and 40 off the base, and then we will have an easier time grinding this. So that's going to drop the head another 20 thousandths, but it's not going to change the relative relationship between the transfers and the exhaust. It'll still be effectively 20 degrees different. The exhaust, however, is going to go to more like 10. With that, it might end up closer to 100 to 102, which is somewhere in there, which is more along the lines of what we want. I don't need a 98 exhaust. And by dropping the head, it also means I have to grind on the intake a little bit less, although I'm still going to do quite a bit of grinding here because it sure looks like there's room to go. So my thought immediately is this head goes back to Rattler. Let's double check the squish. Let's double check the exhaust number, because 97 seems awfully low. Usually what happens with these, you end up with too much intake. So you end up with like an 85 intake, which is just simply too much. now you can prove that it's balanced just by looking. So if you say, okay, here's our exhaust, and it's roughly at, yeah, 97 on that side. Just bring it around to the other side and see where it's at. Okay, it opens about there. So yeah, 99 there. So basically you have it balanced, and I'm reading from top dead center. So you go from top dead center to 90, 95, 100, 105, 110, whatever. But I just sight it right down one of these fins. That's all that I do. Again, if you want to be a little more exact about it, you can get a coat hanger and basically create an indicator at some arbitrary point. Again, make sure it's balanced, and then you'll have an absolute number. So yeah, I think I need to drop. I think the head needs to go down a bunch. So double check the squish number right now. Found 8 saws. You're cleaning the shed. So right now, no base gasket. We're about 25 thousandths. So, yep. This one goes back to Rattler to have a little bit more work done before I actually get to porting it. And the nice thing here is once this is basically squish optimized, it's also going to be basically timing optimized too, so I don't have to do that much. So, I'll find a box, send it back to Rattler, and I'll do that. You know what? Nice to have a little note card. I should have note cards down here. That's what I should have. Whatever. Okay. Just going to pack this back up, send it to Rattler, and off we go. Okay. So what's next for today? That would be the question. So let's pull the wheel off of here, do a little bit of cleanup, and because I got plenty of other stuff to do today, guys. We got all kinds of stuff we can do. Forgive me for not getting to the porting on this, but there's a little more preliminary work that needs to be done, you know? Get this cleaned up. I'm going to put this back over here. Put stuff away. So we'll take a vote. Hey, Mark. We'll take a vote. I got two things I can do right next. I can work on a 262K split for Mason. I think that's what I'm going to do. The other option is I can start working on my 460 big bore hybrid. We can mess with that thing. What do you guys think? Take a vote. So 262K split. Or 460 big bore hybrid. There's your options. What do you want to do? $460. Mark says $460. Package it up for Shetley. Here we go. Mike, that's going to be for you. Pick what I want. Nobody else is voting. Waiting for somebody else to vote. May need those. I don't know about that. What I'm going to need here, actually. Well, Mark said 460, so I guess we're doing 460. Bob says 460. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, what a mess. I think I just took off, kind of just tore everything off of here in a hurry just to get it down to Rattler. Of course, life events have been such that no particular hurry. Hey, Andrew. Yeah, I'm doing okay. You know, there are days when things is not so good. But what are you going to do? Alright. This was it because I tore the hell out of it. I guess I better pull the starter off and the flywheel just cause here, so I'll do that. Yeah, the 350 is kind of unique in that way, Harry. The bearings fall right off. They are not pressed on. I don't know why. I've never understood that design, but that's the way that they did it with the 350. I don't really understand the physics of all that, but whatever. If anybody's interested in crank tools, they can let me know. Shoot me an email. Dinner's done. What am I thinking? Hang on a second, guys. You're supposed to say, Matt, you forgot one important thing. Pull the nut off. Now it's a wee bit more likely to come. Mark, I actually think that the whole 350 thing there is probably more along the lines of if you can't fix it, feature it. So they couldn't find an actual fix to that design, and so they decided to go with it. You know, I'll just go with it. Finally got some 30 rod washers, yank bearings the other day. Can't believe it. Did it? Yeah, I know, but it does work pretty good, doesn't it? So this was a 440 and is now becoming a 460 hybrid. And well, this is the Chinese kit, and this had some issues. So, it may still have issues. We'll see how long it lasts, though. This is just screwing around here, so we'll keep screwing around. Why not? Okay, one interesting thing about piston kits. So, the Highway piston kit and the Farmer Tech piston kit have different skirt lengths by like 1/8 of an inch, which means that the 460 big bore piston has a very different intake. So unfortunately, that's a no good. 54 millimeter 046. That's what that is. So you have to use the Farmer Tech, which I would rather not, but that's what we got. Did I see your new Bobcat? No, I didn't. That's awesome. I did not see it. Hope you're having fun with that thing. So something got messed up with the other piston. I don't know why, so I'm going to put a new one in here. And then we're going to get squish and timing numbers. Let's see where that leads. Did you see my new welder? New welder. Because I haven't featured it yet. Don't worry, Mark. There's plenty of duct tape going to be here, you know. Well, as you guys know, somebody stole my last one, so we're going to file that under not cool. You know what I mean? Not just one welder, two he took. And the blue one was my dad's. So come on, something. Where did that go? There, perfect. So I made two different pop-ups, and I don't even know which one this is. But we'll put the head on and kind of see which one fits. My attention was just whatever. I'll pull that off. I'll pull it off. Good, I didn't put that on there with Loctite. Jersey Joshua. Adam Awesome Saw. You got one today at a flea market. Good. Now go rebuild it. What year is the saw? And when was the last rebuild? I'm trying to get you guys to have the same script over and over and over again. What year's the saw? When was the last? 1998. When was this last rebuild? If the answer is I don't know, okay, or never, then I hope you got it cheap. It doesn't matter how awesome of a saw it is. If the answer is no, or I don't, or never, or I don't know, then you have to get these things cheap because it's going to need a rebuild. I want everybody to say it with me. It's going to need a rebuild. I agree. You're going to have all kinds of fun with that thing, but it's going to need a rebuild. So, hope you got it cheap. Take care, Mark. What's cheap? It's a good question. It's a great question. So how do you define cheap? How do you define expensive? Well, in this case, it's actually really easy. Figure out what that saw is worth, which I can do, but figure out what that saw is worth fully rebuilt, okay? In fully rebuilt condition, how much is that saw worth? Okay? Start there. In current cosmetic condition, right? In current cosmetic condition, figure out what it's worth in perfect mechanical shape. See what I'm saying? ahead on here, see if we can get some time numbers. So in nice cosmetic shape, in perfect mechanical shape, new bearings, new seals, new fuel lines, potentially a new carburetor, all that stuff. A 365 is $400 tops. You paid $100. Not bad. Not bad. So what you do is you say, okay, $400 saw. If that saw is $400 every day of the week in nice cosmetic shape and nice mechanical shape, then you say, okay, what current condition is it in? Right? If the current condition is XYZ, whatever it is, then just do the math and figure out what it's going to take to get the saw to nice cosmetic and mechanical shape. So unless it's a collector's item. A 365 is not. Not a collector's item. There's lots of them out there. Not that it's a bad saw. It's a good saw. But it's just a math problem. You say, okay, I paid $100. You know, are you going to put $300 into it? And if you do, what's going to happen? See what I mean? No, 2010 is the first year of the X-Torque. 26, currently building one, third one, saw dock, 256, porting it, if I can get him to do it. Yes, he is. If you can get the doc to do it, yeah. Walter Lappin, can you get a big bore highway kit for an 025 Farm Boss? I have no idea. I stay away from 025s. Hey, Leonard. I don't do 250s. I don't do 55s. I don't do 029s, 290s, those type of saws. As a general rule. Things I stay away from. Uh-oh. It's a head slapper. No love for no love for that. No. Just not me. So maybe not nearly enough of a pop up here. Let's go see if the other one gives me a little more room. Calipers, where did I put them? No. Great. I don't even know which one I took more out of here, so. also love to know where it's hitting. This one appears to be giving me a little bit more room. Let's try it. But I build 350s. Yeah, 350s are pseudo clamshell. The difference is the 350 has a riser block. And that riser block for 350s helps be able to modify them essentially. How come this is that friggin' tight? I know, but I build 350s. Yes, yes, yes. I'm allowed to do what I want, you know. Free country. But yeah, the reason I build 350s is exactly that reason, which is that the wow, that's tight. What did I do? Is that the clamshell is a pseudo clamshell. It's not a true clamshell in 350. Why the wrist pin's so tight? That's kind of funny. Try another wrist pin. Does that answer your question, Tim? Yeah, Bob, it's a great point about. I love the topic of like used saws and whatnot, and you really don't want to drive with the market any more than you have to. So I've done it 1,000 times and paid way too much for saws. I mean, you got to be real careful about that. Okay, these wrist pins are a little too tight. So, I think I've never had to do this before. Not going to go in here with a burr or sandpaper, just a wire wheel, and make sure I get rid of any corrosion that's inside the piston itself, which will allow the wrist pin to slide in smooth. Rudely, but yes. What's rude? Rudely, William? Who's being rude? Was I being rude? Hope I wasn't being rude. Just a wire brush here. was being rude. That's awful tight. Oof. You want tight, but on a piston, you don't want the wrist pin loose at all. But that's a little bit much, I think. Okay, so that slides. That's fine. Still really tight. Okay. Fine. We'll do the no-no here. Just want to get the piston on the silly song, but can't do that. It was too tight. So a little bit of emery cloth here. Yep. Questions, comments, anything is welcome. Thanks, Bob. Just emery cloth. There we go. That's better. Ta-da! Okay. Now we're going to just pray for a more head slash here. That feels good there. There we go. Better. Okay. Now we can check squish, but the easier thing to do is just throw the wheel on here. See what we got for numbers. I forget what we ended up with here. Same deal, take a stop, put it in here. So you want to first firmly affix the wheel to the shaft here. Make sure it's tightened down reasonable. Okay. So now what you can do is pick a fin, like I did before. I'm just sighting this down into the center fin, makes things easy. You're going to zero this to that spot essentially. So bring up the piston. Right about there is probably close. And then you want to bring top dead center around to line up with that. More or less. Okay. Again, Mastermind has a great video on how to do that. Back it off, bring it up so that hits around the 55 mark. That hits around the 80 mark. So we're going to move the wheel is still a little loose. So we're going to move this to about 68. That's about, oh shoot, that's close right there. All right, 65, 66. 69.70. Okay. So I've got perfect. Okay, now it's balanced, left to right. Let's check and see where the exhaust is at here. So look and see where the exhaust closes, about there. 90, 100. It's like 103. Let's go around the other side. Okay, so I basically have to lower the exhaust on that. Where's our intake? I gotta flatten the intake a little bit. Right about there's good. And that's right on 78, so I can do a little bit more intake. So now what I can do is put a ring in here and again measure kind of where I want to be. I can do slightly more intake and slightly more exhaust basically on this, so we're going to do some grinding. Oh, I didn't even check squish. Did not even check squish. I'm not even going to worry about the transfers for the moment. Take care, Mark. Thanks much. Here's my email address if anybody wants to email me. It's right there in the chat. $18,000, $19,000. Okay. Yeah, it's tight. So the in and the exhaust need to be ground slightly. And then I think we're going to be in fine shape here. Again, I'm not going to worry about the transfers at the moment. We will get there. But I wanted to do a little bit of grinding with you guys today. So let's see if we can get to that. Again, if we go back to the ring trick, basically you put a ring in here. And if nothing else, you can get it even, which I think is very important. So I have the ring in there, and it shows me left to right. Is it balanced, you know? So you can mark it, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't need to do lots of grinding here, so yeah. Just going to do this with my lab grinder. This is just a straight hand piece, dental lab grinder. You guys see me? play with this for hours. Pick a target, aim for it, whatever. Just go for it, you know? I'm definitely not the expert on what numbers are best for what. Just not. They're real important, but I am not the expert on that. Ball end mill for making the bevel. So I'm looking here for an exhaust anywhere like 98 to 100, somewhere in there. 102 is a bit much. You grind it down just a little bit and see where you end up. Again, there are guys that are much more exact than me on this stuff, but now you just hit it with the emery cloth, basically. Just a mandrel that I made here out of a drywall screw, bigger drywall screw. Slow speed at first, very slow. Rip a little off the end. I need just a little more of a bevel. Just a little bit more of a bevel. I'd call that pretty darn good. Let's have a look. Show you guys. I am not the world's expert on porting, but there. Have you reported a 390 XP? Yes. Well, 385, but yeah. If yes, is it possible to send you a new top end to do so? No. Nope, I am not the guy, but I tell you who is. Rattler in North Carolina would be. The guy that does my machine work. That would be the dude. I don't know if he's got a spare 385, 390 case around there, but that guy would be the one to send it to. He does first-rate work, and his prices are reasonable. Yeah, most people don't want cases decked. I just do it because I prefer it. Just my own personal preference, you know. I just draw a line that's flat. Hey Edwin, how are you? I draw a black line that's flat on an old ring, or it could be a new ring, just a junk ring. Um, Draw a line that's flat, and that way you have a reference point. That one's ground light. I like intakes square and flat. And the rings only pass by here once, so you don't, when you're installing them, so you don't have to worry about that. That's flatter. You don't have to polish the intake. You can. You don't necessarily need to. Okay, close enough there. Now I'm going to wash it, and then we'll actually take and see where the transfers are at, and put it back on, and get the numbers and see where the transfers are at. Yeah, Harry, if you're not reaching corners, then maybe the corners are a little too sharp. Just a thought. You know? All right. So where's the exhaust end up now? Yeah, like right on 100. Okay, so right on 100. And where's the in? That's a much more crisp opening too. The in, like 79. That's perfect. Okay, now we're talking. All right, next, if I can see the transfers, then we're good. If I can't, then I gotta. So I could grab the transfers just slightly. Just slightly. So let's put a ring in here and get the transfers to where we want them. Bring this to bottom dead center. Great, lost it down there. It's not going to be straight if I don't get it straight. So let's. I actually made these holes bigger. To get tools down in there, but I still can't get. Alright. Still can't get a 5 screw in there. A screw down in there somewhere. Great. It's down in the case somewhere. That's lovely. Fine. I'll go the other direction. I like short M5 Allens for this. This one I can just place in over here. Stihl made these basically impossible to get to and deal with and all that other crap. But whatever. Who's saying anything? Take care, Harry. So now we bring you up to wherever you want. So 190, 100, 110, 120. So right here, you bring it right up, right where you want it. Back it back off. Now you've marked your transfers with that ring. So this looks like it definitely needs more transfer here, but don't know if I can do it. Don't know how much further I can get this down, but I will try. The walls on these transfers are thin, thin, thin. here's where you need your right angle grind. And these dental ones are not the best for this. But they do work. I'll see where I can get it to. Yeah, I'm a whole millimeter at least off here. And the right angle grinder I have here is not super good at taking off lots. So what we can do is make another one. So the burrs are what are called latch system. There's a flat and then a spot here for the actual latch to grab a hold of it. That way it doesn't slip out. So simple thing to do is make one out of a otherwise non-latch. You cannot buy really large burrs for latch, as far as I can tell. So you have to make them. I have my little sander here. That's cool. Alright, I need to get my grinder out here. So I actually save these small discs, the small ones, because it allows you to get into smaller places. And here's the bigger ones for other things. Pretty nifty system, if you ask me. So again, we're going to make a latch burr here. I got the flat ground on it. Now I just need the retention. I need something a little thinner. I happen to have a diamond wheel here that's a little bit thinner. A little thinner kerf, you know. These are just inexpensive carbide burrs, you know, nothing fancy. So if you bugger one, not a big deal. See if it fits. It's a little bit more of a flat, I think. Hey Megan, you made it. So all I'm trying to do, put a flat on there, and then you have to have like a retention ring there. A thousand times easier to buy these things, but oh well. this one doesn't quite. Not quite going far enough, but it'll work for the moment. That's cutting a little bit better. Yeah, I might leave that pretty much there too. I'd also rather not grind through here. Let's see if sandpaper goes in there. Really wish I could fit that sandpaper in there. But I can't, so Stanley Brand, did you make it? Wonderful. Brett, you made it just in time for all the fun. Okay, let's go to the other side. Quite a bit of drilling to do here. Let's use this other guy here. That's pretty even, actually. I'm not taking it to full dimension. I'm worried about grinding through. So I'm not going to fully take this down to where it probably could be. Now I'm going to take sandpaper and just touch it quick. Just the very edge. And then I can hit it with a bevel. Ball end diamond. Bevel it. Then I'm going to clean this and we're going to install it because I'm sick and tired of working on it, you know what I mean? Say sure. Yeah, the next thing to consider on this is actually finger ports. But we won't worry about that for right now. I'm going to go clean this and work on installing it. Next thing I'm going to do, Scotch-Brite. So these are dimensioned Scotch-Brite cylinders. You can get these on Amazon. This, I keep a steady supply here because of Mike Batto. He keeps me supplied. But okay, I'm going to go watch this one more time. All right. This better be pure awesomeness. What a job. Yeah, the bird's in the background. Is Chip still around, Stanley? Still got Chip? Gotta clean all this stuff up for the moment. Then we'll put that something in there. Want that out. I want that out. Get rid of that. Cleanup to do always. Alright, so now I'm not even going to worry about the numbers because I've got a pretty good idea of what they are. All this stuff. What I actually want to do is take, because the rings that I put on here were cabers. They were really nice. Yeah, but somehow the piston got a little buggered, so I'm just kind of not too happy about that, you know what I mean? I'm going to take the cabers off, because I know these are nice rings. See if I can install them. This piston. So the other thing I'm going to do, put the piston in the head first. So let's get clips. Here's one clip. pretty sure these are OEM clips. So I think it would be easier to install from this side. So I'm going to put it on the PTO side. Okay. What I'm going to do is take and install intake boot. Does that make things a little bit harder, but oh well. Close enough. Put a blue Loctite on there. Let's go with our 3 bond here. Brake cleaner. I'm not even sure what gasket to run on this. I'd probably have to make one if I was making a gasket. Because it's such a funky configuration going to the hybrid. Ask what the guys use for gaskets. I'll bet a lot of guys just, for these funny hybrids, they probably just don't even use. That'll be fine. That's fine. Yeah, the 260 44.7 has a dome piston. Uh, Rattler takes and flattens that. Just his thing, I guess. I don't know. Some 2-cycle oil on there. Let's put the piston in. Of course, we're hoping this is the one I used, right? So yes, these are old rings, but they're not that old. Okay, so now here's where this technique the rubber really meets the road here. See, don't even need ring compressors. Now what I'm going to do is put some load 84 on here, get that to tack. Just going to coat this. Any idea why? No. Well, I think you can control things a lot easier. You can make adjustments when you get rid of the dome piston. If you're trying to adjust squish and whatnot, it becomes easier just to have a flat top piston. Easier to take measurements and whatnot. Q-tips. This tack for another minute. This is kind of getting messy. This is a 046 hybrid, actually. I've moved on from the 026 because the 026 needs a little bit more. I need Rattler to do a little more piston work for me. Or rather, cylinder head work, excuse me. So this stuff is tacking up, which is great. Let it tack. There we go. Now I'm hoping I can find the other clip in here. I did. Look at that. So this is an 044, 046 hybrid, big bore hybrid is what this is going to be. I just need to find the wrist pin. Where did I put the wrist pin? Anybody see that? Here, standing up, right there. Okay. Oh. No. So, let's see how this happens. I don't know. Nice. Of course, I don't even know what I'm going to use for cylinder head bolts, but whatever. Clip goes in. Did it. Exhaust bolts, those are okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts for head bolts. Now I don't like this process, but whatever. Hey Jay, what's going on, man? Yeah, you know, hanging in. Some days are better than others. Maybe if I can get this in here. Put the head down easier. It's going to make it a lot easier, I think. That's incredible how tight that is. Alright, so it's hitting here and there. It doesn't just want to slide down, unfortunately. It needs literally like a millimeter more. So if I could grind off there or there, it would be better. Let's see if I can just muscle in. That's incredible. Of course, if I loosened up the tank, it would be, that would be too smart, though, right? How come I always get things stuck in the funkiest places? There. Oh no, don't move it down there. Don't do that. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to get the 026 done for a bit. I got to get that back to Rattler. Okay, so one case modification clearly that I would make here, if I knew, is that there are bosses here that I would probably just grind back a bit. Here, right over here, right where the this screw comes in. You need like a millimeter or two of clearance, and that would be just a whole lot easier to fit this cylinder head in. Okay. What do you think? Should we try to pop it today? Double check. This is a lot of grinding to get this to fit. So this is an 046 big bore head on a 440 chassis. So this took an astronomical amount of grinding. I had to grind fins off here to get them to fit underneath just the top cover. I needed to... I don't think there's any room that needs to be clearanced on the case. Yeah, there was room that needed to be clearanced on the fins there. Just all kinds of randomness needs to be done in order to get this remotely close. It was a bunch of things. I'd have to go back and look. We did a lot of stuff. The exhaust was a toughie too. That was crazy. Don't want to impact fibers on, you just want to get that started. Put my rope in here. Piston stop, and then we can pour this appropriately. Oh, what's this? Oh, look, an HD17. Brand new. The crank clearance is different. Yeah, probably. Oh, limiters. Let's get rid of those. That's an easy way to do it. Just pull. Start it there. That makes life easy. Okay, so it's in for the gas line. It's in for the impulse. Black rubber piece here goes up top. this piece that I think goes in here. Yeah, so I grab, this grabs the throttle, right? That's the throttle. And that goes around there like that. Throttle rod here. Clicks in there. Good. This goes on. Down. That part on. A couple 8mm screws, hold it on. Oh, we're moving here. Hang on, guys. We're definitely moving. The choke, on this, the choke has never wanted to set good. Wonder what the heck am I doing wrong? Why is the choke not setting? See, it's like this. Tough thing to get it to set. I don't know why. So, I had tried some fuel line on here. Let's see if that actually. Makes it a little easier. Does go now. And we're just going to hope and pray we can put this back together. Choke on. Hey Cody, the rocket going later? I have not. I cannot set the freaking choke. It's just too tight. too tight. See this, and this seems nice and gentle. It doesn't seem like that would be a real problem. I wonder if I can take this off and just look at the mechanism. See, I've taken grease even and put it in here. Spring is just too strong. Well, if I can get that out of there, if I can pop that out of there, I can actually remove a little bit from the spring. Interesting. See, I never have smooth builds. I don't know anybody that does. Oh, I know plenty of people that probably do, but I don't ever have smooth builds. Just tear it out of there. Or break it. I guess that's not popping today. How did they get that in there? That's crazy. So I don't even know how this part comes apart. But it seems to me like I need a new part here. And otherwise, this ain't happening. So we get a new part for here, then we can get this saw to pop. If I don't, that's kind of depressing. You know what? I forget it. Done. Done. That's stupid. Unicorns and chainsaws. What's going on? Alright, so yeah, that's pretty much what's going on here. I'm happy to have a new carburetor. New OEM carburetor. I figured let's spring for a new OEM carb on here. I'm just going to put this on here because I think it makes sense to do so, and I'll get a new part for that, and then that'll hopefully be better. And then I can actually set the choke. So, we're going to leave it like it is. I have a couple things to update. I've got I got the muffler painted. So here's Sammy's muffler. Stop. Sorry, I'm going to get rid of it. Not bad. Not awesome. But it'll be a nice big opening for a 272. Considering it's my first TIG weld, you gotta go easy on me. So yeah, I'll get that on Sammy's machine one of these days. Right now I'm just gonna call it because I'm sick of this. And thank you guys for hanging out with me this long. This has been a long adventure. Questions, comments, anything else, guys? Thanks, Bob, for that. If anybody wants to support the channel, please click on the link that Bob just posted. It is the best and easiest way to support the channel. If you need crank tools for assembly for crankcases, let me know. We can accommodate with that too. So, questions, comments, anything else, guys? Cody, you're very welcome. We'll call it a day, and I'll see if I can... You like that, Tim? Don't worry, it'll be better. It'll be better. Yep, I'm out. Thanks, guys, and I'll get better at TIG welding. We'll go over that one of these days. We're gonna definitely hit that. All right, I'm out. Appreciate it, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.